You ever hear a story that starts with a splash and ends with handcuffs? Because let me tell you, if you'd told me 6 months ago I'd be standing in my backyard pool, beer in hand, staring down a kid in designer sneakers threatening me on behalf of his mom, the self-declared queen of the neighborhood, I'd have laughed you right out of the state. But that's exactly where it started. Right there in the sun, that sharp Texas morning, me and that kid, Brandon. He was all of 17, dripping arrogance, standing on the concrete like he owned it. Hey, old man, you need to get out. My mom runs this neighborhood. I almost choked on my beer. If he only knew. But, hang on, let me back up a second. Before I get lost in the details, do me a favor, drop a comment with where you're watching from and what time it is. I swear, these HOA stories hit different coast to coast, don't they? Anyway, about half a year before the pool standoff, I rolled into Willowbrook Estates. Place looked like something out of a real estate brochure. Every lawn trimmed with military precision, mailboxes pastel and cheery, and neighbors waving with smiles that never quite touched their eyes. I thought I was trading noise and trouble for peace after years on the force. Yeah, public service, technically true. What I didn't know, I'd walked straight onto a stage, not a street. 3 days in, that's when I met her, Karen Mitchell. Straight back, expensive yoga pants, and a smile that could cut glass. She handed me a basket of muffins and a 47-page HOA packet like it was a Bible. I'm the HOA president, she said, scanning my old truck like it was a biohazard. We take pride in community standards. Before she left, she tossed out, "You're moving truck block day. Driveway. Just a reminder, citations come fast here." No kidding. By Friday, I had 3 warning letters. One for the grass, one for the trash bin, and one offering a discount for an approved landscaper. Order wasn't requested, it was demanded. Every neighbor looked trained, like their smiles were on a timer. Blinds snapped shut when Karen strolled past. The first HOA meeting felt like a trial. Karen didn't answer questions, she corrected them. She smiled when she wanted everyone to laugh, and they laughed. One poor soul asked about cheaper fencing. She said, "Weak links, lower value." Everybody nodded like it was gospel. That's when I noticed Brandon, her son, BMW keys in one hand, blasting music all night, parking wherever he pleased. If anyone complained, he'd just grin. My mom runs this place. You could feel it in the air. She ruled with paperwork, he ruled with noise, and the rest of Willowbrook just endured. Silence had become a habit. But silence, it's just another word for waiting. I took notes, dates, times, pictures. Not out of anger, just old habits from a lifetime of catching people who thought they'd never get caught. Karen wanted order. I wanted quiet. Sooner or later, those two things were bound to crash. By the end of month 1, I realized Willowbrook ran on fear. Karen wasn't just HOA president. She was judge, jury, executioner. Every Monday, homeowners packed the center, clutching paperwork like legal shields. She'd fine a 70-year-old widow for 3 garden gnomes. Her late husband's, no less. Rules are rules. Karen would say. No one spoke up. The pattern never changed. Citations for cars parked crooked, fences too tall, porch lights too bright. And Brandon carried that torch with glee, tearing up lawns, pranking folks. He parked across my driveway at 2 in the morning. "Problem, old man," he smirked. "Noise ordinance," I told him. "We can do whatever we want," he shot back. Next morning, tire marks on my concrete. I snapped a photo, filed it away. After that, Karen made me her favorite target, letters about my grass, my bins, unauthorized light fixtures. All signed by hand. I stayed polite, even friendly. Nothing frustrates a bully more. But I could see my neighbors shrinking, gardens neglected, conversations dying out on the street. She fed on that silence. Turned fear into fertilizer. But what Karen didn't know, I'd built my life on catching people who overplay their hand. Arrogance always leaves evidence, and Willowbrook was swimming in it. So, there I am, poolside, Brandon puffing up with that teenage, "my mom runs you" swagger. "This is HOA property," he yells, waving his phone at me. "Get out." I didn't budge. "Your mom told you this is community property?" I asked, barely hiding my grin. "Yeah, unless you want problems." I laughed. "Son, if your mom runs me, she's working a job she didn't even interview for." He bristled, hit record on his phone, and threatened to post everything online. 5 minutes later, here comes Karen, storm in a ponytail and sunglasses. "Mr. Reeves, you're trespassing on HOA property." She snaps, waving some blurry property map at me. I barely look. "Karen, this is my pool, my property." She digs in, quoting rules and threats, her voice carrying for the whole block to hear. Curtains twitch, blinds crack open, neighbors peeking at the showdown. She threatens fines, board meetings, legal action, towing my truck. "You're taking this very lightly," she hisses. "Not lightly," I say, climbing out of the water. "Just calmly. You might want to remember that." And when Brandon's phone catches the whole scene, I make sure to mention, recordings work both ways. That night, I notice the shift. Neighbors are ashamed, not just scared. Mrs. Patterson, the widow with the gnomes, knocks on my door after sunset, hands shaking, casserole dish trembling. "I saw what happened today. You shouldn't have to deal with her. None of us should." She tells me about fines so steep she skipped medication just to pay them, foreclosure threats for missing payments. She has every letter, every date. Next morning, Tom Johnson corners me at the mailbox, whispers about car keys and threats. "You really think it matters if we document it?" he asks. "Always matters," I tell him. Marcus Webb stops by next, single dad, 2 kids, fined for a peeling fence that Brandon vandalized. He's got footage. "Send it to me," I say. By week's end, my dining table looks like a detective's war room. Letters, photos, footage, timelines. 6 months of Karen's order mapped out in color-coded evidence. Then, the cracks widen. More neighbors come forward. Rodriguez, Miss Chun, all with stories of harassment, fraud, intimidation. I build the case, layer by layer, no rush. One Sunday morning, Mrs. Patterson calls. "We want to help. We all have stories. Maybe it matters now." 5 neighbors in my living room, coffee cups and shame in their eyes, dignity taken one fine at a time. We dig deeper, find fake companies, phony invoices, money funneled straight into Karen's account. Willowbrook Landscape Solutions? No license, no address, just a P.O. box. This isn't just bullying, it's a racket. I start the Mitchell investigation file, name and date, and let the paper trail do the talking. The next morning, HOA email arrives. Emergency meeting, mandatory attendance. Karen wants a public spectacle. I give her one. Forward all my evidence to the county attorney, state HOA board, my own department. Photos, statements, bank records. Justice isn't about being loud, it's about being thorough. Come Monday night, the Willowbrook Community Center is packed. Karen's got her slides ready, my house, my truck, a tape measure in my lawn, and an edited video of me threatening her son. She recommends $15,000 in fines, vehicle removal, legal action to force sale of my home. The room goes tense, folks realizing how fast someone can be erased. That's my cue. I walk up slow, calm. First, I clear up the property lines. Deed, survey, county map, all official, all stamped. No such thing as HOA pool property behind my fence, I say. Karen tries to laugh it off, calls it forged. "You sure you want that on the record?" I ask. The board starts reading, really reading. Next, harassment, my own security footage up on the projector. Brandon and his friends vandalizing my place. Trespassing, drinking, all caught on camera. The room gasps. I let it play. 6 hours of raw truth, the difference between lies and reality laid bare. Then, the final blow, bank records. Fines collected, matched deposits in Karen's personal account, right down to the date. That's not enforcement. That's embezzlement, I say. Karen's voice goes brittle, calls it slander. Tries to pull rank. But nobody's nodding with her anymore. Mrs. Patterson stands up, her voice trembling but loud enough for everyone. "You made me choose between my house and my medication. And you smiled while you did it." Karen snaps, tries to take charge, but the board is already moving for her removal. The deputies I called wait by the door. Then, the twist. I pull out my badge. My name is Sheriff Michael Reeves. I moved here after my election, wanted to be just a neighbor. But for 6 months, while you handed out threats, I've been documenting everything. Karen freaks out, calls it entrapment, says I can't do this. Deputies step forward, Brandon panics, shoves me. Right there, in front of everyone. Assault on an officer. Out come the cuffs. In that moment, Karen's kingdom crumbles. The board votes, unanimous. She's out. The crowd erupts, not in anger, but in relief. Mrs. Patterson starts to clap, soft at first, then the whole room. Loud and rhythmic. Years of fear, gone in a night. Karen and Brandon are let out, their power shattered. 3 weeks later, I watch Brandon in court, hands clenched, the smirk gone. The judge hands down community service, probation, restitution. Karen faces audits, lawsuits, a future full of courtrooms instead of committees. The neighborhood breathes different, rules rewritten. For fairness, the books open, every dollar accounted for. One morning, I walk past Mrs. Patterson's lawn. Her gnomes are back, standing proud under a welcome back sign. Tom Johnson repaints his fence with his little boy. The Chins plant new flowers. Real music drifts down the street. Willowbrook isn't just quiet, it's alive. Later that month, Gerald from the board suggests a community pool. Day at my place. Full circle, open gates, new beginnings. Families gather, laughter echoing where silence once ruled. Tom leans in. You could have ended this with a badge months ago. Maybe, I say. But then nobody would have seen who Karen really was. People had to feel the weight to know what freedom means. That's justice. Not loud, just steady. Brandon serves his time, quiet and respectful. Karen sells the house, never looks back. The HOA newsletter now says community is not control, it's care. I'm still the sheriff, but here, I'm just a neighbor who waves at folks mowing their lawns. Looking back, it's not the arrests I remember. It's the silence. How fear can chain a community, how easy it is for one person to turn rules into a weapon. But all it takes is one act of courage. One voice saying, enough, and the whole spell breaks. Justice isn't a siren or a badge. It's neighbors watering their gardens in peace, kids laughing by the pool, the sound of ordinary life. Returning. So, I'll leave you with this. Have you ever tangled with an HOA or a bully who mistook fear for respect? Drop your story in the comments. You never know, your courage might be the thing that helps someone else break their silence.